we've now built up rapport. We've done our research, we've had a good chat, we've talked about the weather, we've talked about their office, we've talked about them, what we've learned, we've had a chat about their company industry, and now we step nicely into the next piece. Now the danger with rapport is we get stuck there, yeah, right? We get stuck in rapport and we can't get out. So we have a thing called a segue, or what we would call it technically a pattern interrupt. We want to change the flow of the conversation, do it at the right time. But the segue flicks you out of rapport and flicks you very nicely into the next step. Because remember, we're in a process here. We're always trying to get to the next steps, which the next steps is we want to get another meeting, okay? So how do we get to the next steps? How do we get to the point where it makes sense to have another meeting? So we go rapport, segue out. Now, what does a segue look like? A segue is a statement that is going to lead us into our introduction. So we're going to do a very short introduction that's going to lead us into that. So the segue would go like this. Before we start, do you mind if I tell you a little bit about myself? Before we start, do you mind if I tell you a little bit about myself? And so there's three reasons why we do this, yeah, right? Number one, it changes the flow of the conversation. Number two, it gets them to technically ask you. When you say to them, do you mind? Actually, they're saying, I would like to hear what you've got to say. And finally, it keeps you in control. It gives you a flow. It takes you to the next step. This is not as easy as it seems, yeah, okay? It's extremely important. It's critical that you do this because it formally changes the process. But it's very, very difficult to do, and you have to concentrate.